the green floral foam, which florists are using all over the world. It's manufactured all over the world. And basically that's a plastic. So once you can really only use it once, and it becomes a foam, a microplastic. So, and it's green, so it looks like it's natural. So animals are ingesting it because they think it's algae or something like that. So it's getting into the sea, and creatures are actually ingesting that thinking it's food.
Hi, welcome to my channel, Grit, Grind and Gratitude, where we talk to micro-entrepreneurs about their journey of becoming a micro-entrepreneur and walking that path. Grit, Grind and Gratitude shares stories of resilience, of purpose and values-led entrepreneurs who are shaping their futures boldly. Hi, Emily. It's a pleasure to welcome you on our show, Grit, Grind, and Gratitude. I had the lucky fortune of knowing you and attending a workshop with you in Johannesburg. And it was a beautiful experience around creating sustainable floristry, if that is the right way to say it. But I felt like I really felt wow, and I've always carried that memory in a very positive way. So welcome on show.
Thank you, Dips. Thank you so much for inviting me to your special program. And yes, we did have a very special workshop at that time. We did something which was made on a big globe, a big ball made out of sticks, and you could create whatever you wanted using the materials that I had available to you. You could create your own design or idea that you wanted to express through that ball. And that's what I do offer. I do offer lots of workshops where people come in. I have a specific theme or a specific concept that I want people to work with at that time, and they weave that into the actual product design that they're making when they come to workshops, so that it becomes quite a purposeful day, and it's something where they can have time with themselves to express something through nature. And also often most people come and they've never done flowers before or even thought of flowers in this way. So it's a very immersive experience for people, and they go away feeling a different person, that they've experienced something really special. So for me, that's always an absolute joy to see people's growth through the few hours that they're there, and their unwinding as they start to develop something, create something that they didn't think they could do. And that's such a beauty to see all the different things that come out from each person. There is not one that's anything like the other. So for me, again, it's just that uniqueness of each of us, and that we are all capable of doing this and expressing ourselves through nature, through these workshops. So they are extremely beautiful to experience as a facilitator and to participate in as well.
Wow. So step back for a moment and introduce yourself. Who is Emily, and how did you get into this entire business of first flowers and then the sustainable part of it? Tell us a little about that.
So today I'm what I call a sustainable floral artist. But that wasn't always the case. It happened during COVID, that's 6 years ago, where everything shut down and the whole events industry and all the hospitality industry closed down. And that's where my work was. But it gave me an opportunity to sit back and say, okay, how did we get here? And from my perspective, I just thought, this is a message from nature. We're just doing too much. There's no respect for nature. What can I do in my capacity as a florist to change the way we are working in? So those few months that we were in lockdown and had that quiet time, I went back into my storerooms where I was saving natural materials to use for festive decorations, and I just started to reuse it in different ways. And that's where the floral art, sculptural art started to come that I work with today. And that was such a revelation to me, is just to think about flowers differently. So I thought, there were so many flowers that we have used in fresh form, and then when they don't look their best, we throw them away. But I've realized since then there is so much that you can keep and they transform into something else that you can reuse. So it's like just thinking about flowers differently, seeing them differently, allowing the process to kind of transform as they go from fresh to dying or dried. Not all flowers dry, but there were a lot of materials that I can use. And so I just started to make these sculptural installations, and I started to use that more and more. And it was such an eye-opener to see what happens to the natural materials and how we can use them again. And so I did an exhibition then in 2020, and the hotel that I was working with at the time, it was really good for them because then it meant that we could save on budget and we weren't using so much materials that we were throwing away. So that was all good for them. It was all suddenly, it became part of the sustainability offering that I could offer. And that was a very different perspective for my client. And so I've just been growing that. I've just been going from strength to strength with that. I select flowers very carefully. I always think, how long will this last? Can it dry? Can I reuse it again? And where does it come from? I try and buy flowers that are locally grown and not imported. That's not always possible, but I try. But my main focus is to see, how can I dry this? Can it dry? Can I reuse it again? And how long will it last? So, and yes, so that's what we're doing now. And the angle is slightly different. We want to work now in more an art space and an interior decorating space. So making bigger installations, not just a flower in a vase, in a reception area. We're trying to do very big installations that are in big lobbies, where we can create 3.5 meter high pieces, or really big installations where we put these flowers in. And then also the craftsmanship of the people. I found that in this whole process, my own team was starting to show their own skills about what they could do with the flowers. And this was quite an interesting journey for me. And it wasn't only about me or my ideas or the flowers, it was suddenly the skill of other people. So there were a lot of people that had never ever done an artistic piece. And I said, okay, I've got this idea, let's try this. And so I'd give them materials, I had this idea, and I gave it to my team, and they would start to develop it. And I'd sometimes think, it's not what I had in mind, but actually that's quite interesting what you made. And so it was a real eye-opener for me to see that it wasn't only about me, it's about all of us. And it was incredible to see. It was such an inspiration to see how my team was starting to flourish, given the opportunity to work with materials that never worked with and find something else. So again, it was like, I had an idea, they had an idea, and together we've created these things. And it's such, as much as the workshops are like that, I see it in my workshops, that people come, but I see it in my own team as well, where the creative innateness in us just comes out in opportunities like this. And I find that so amazing. And that's what I want to share with people. I want people to give us the opportunity to show them what can be done in groups, with groups, not just me, but communities that, I go into rural areas, or I go into the street corner and I ask people, can you make this for me? And they make it for me, and then we combine it into these artistic installations with flowers. So yeah, it's about sustaining the community as well as the environment, and just seeing flowers differently.
Yeah.
So,
just to summarize for our listeners, so I hear a lot of, not only have you opened your heart and mind to a very different way flowers can be presented to people, but you've also ignited the spark in your team to see flowers and installations very differently. And I know you're talking about huge installations. I've seen a couple of them myself in the Joburg Flower Show, where you created a beautiful piece with pins and cushions, and some of it was still there in my house before I left South Africa. Yeah, so I know. And talk us about, I know you went and educated yourself around biomimicry and the principles of biomimicry. Tell our listeners, what is biomimicry, and how? I know that you did a project where you were trying to find the green sponge that florists use, a sustainable version, eco-friendly version of it. So tell us about that experience.
Okay, so biomimicry is a study of how nature has done things since over evolution, and how it's succeeded in doing what it does best. And in our environments, where we've created a lot of artificial environments or plastic or things like that, we're looking back at nature to see how nature does certain things and how we can try and incorporate that into our designs to minimize the impact on the environment. So in my field, I then looked at the floral foam, which is the green floral foam, which florists are using all over the world. It's manufactured all over the world. And basically that's a plastic. So once you can really only use it once, and it becomes a foam, a microplastic. So, and it's green, so it looks like it's natural. So animals are ingesting it because they think it's algae or something like that. So it's getting into the sea, and creatures are actually ingesting that thinking it's food. And so we're seeing this decline. They've done studies of it where the creatures are actually just dying off. They can't reproduce because basically they aren't actually eating sustainable food. So, and not only in the sea, obviously in the landfill here, I live in Johannesburg, this is going into the environment. And so it just looks like it's natural, but it's not. And so what I try to do is try to find a way that would mimic this floral foam, which absorbs water and holds water, and it makes flowers last quite long in the oasis foam. So there's a lot of benefits to the flowers in foam, and it obviously, if you're transporting flowers, the flowers don't spill and they don't fall out. So there's a lot of use for it. But I thought, how can I create this concept, a lot of concepts around it, using natural materials that is not imported, it's made locally, because that's all about sustainability. It needs to be locally produced. So I try to do a study on that, and I try to look at all different aspects. I'm not a chemical engineer, which was quite frustrating because I definitely saw my lack of knowledge and how I could try and find this. And I have made contact with some people. I've made contact with a professor in Australia who's been studying the effects of oasis in the environment. And yeah, she said I need to speak to a chemical engineer on this. And I guess, I need to pursue that more. I'm just putting it out there. I'm hoping that someone will take this, and I know there are definitely companies that have tried to do it, like Oasis Floral Foam themselves. They do have a range, but it's made with spun volcanic rock into a different kind of brick, but it's very difficult to use. It doesn't, the water's, if you put flowers in, the water kind of comes out, it disintegrates very quickly, so it's not very practical. And also, it's imported, isn't it? Volcanic
Ash
rocks
is not in South
world.
Africa, yeah.
No. So, the thing with floral foam is, the countries are under license to manufacture it, so that's why you can get it everywhere. And if not, then they're exporting this product everywhere. And even these bricks that are made out of volcanic materials are exported all over. So it's not sustainable. That's not sustainability. Sustainability has to be locally sourced, and that it can go back into the environment without having an impact on the environment. So yeah, I try to look at mushrooms, because mushrooms are amazing, but how to keep it, anyway. A long journey.
A lot of work in that.
It's a whole other
dimension to it. Yes. And I'll definitely connect you to two chemical engineers I know. One of them has just finished his studies from MIT, and maybe he can lead you, because he's a young person, and he might have other people in his network who can connect you to people who can give you a solution on this journey of yours to finding a sustainable replacement for floral foam.
I'm sure if it was simple, that all these big companies would have done something.
Yeah.
But I'm still putting it out there. It's got to be done. We've still got to push this so that it is completely sustainable and in an honest way, not greenwashing. Because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of that's greenwashing. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Changing stances a bit, and coming back, when you look back on your journey, I know you were a exclusive florist for Four Seasons Hotel in Joburg, and you've got some amazing range of clients like the Porsche or the Qatar Airways. So tell us a bit about your clients and the special, the gap in the market that you fill currently.
So yes, I was the in-house florist at the Four Seasons Hotel in Johannesburg, Four Seasons Hotel Westcliff, where I had the opportunity to grow a lot of these ideas that I had. They supported a lot of those ideas. And the clients that I had there, which was through the hotel, who would do functions at the hotel, I tried to do sustainable flowers as much as possible. I tried not using Oasis. Sometimes I did, so it's not 100% Oasis free, but I tried to create designs as much as possible that didn't include unsustainable methods. So the clients, yes, that was through the Four Seasons Hotel, and I do have some outside of the hotel, and that's through functions I do for them that are for their events. So it's private functions they might be hosting for gala dinners or special breakfasts or product launches or conferences. I must say I loved working with the corporates because they kind of do listen to the sustainability side, and also they gave me carte blanche to do things. So I was very happy to do corporate work. I still do corporate work. I still enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm still, that's where I'm trying to get more in their space now, in their actual space, creating the work that I do currently.
I know you're hosting an exhibition very soon. Why don't you talk us through that? I know you have a very interesting invitation, a physical small sampler Show that to our listeners and tell us about the exhibition and what is it all about.
So thank you for asking me. I am putting an exhibition together, yes, and it's amazing how much work that is. It's taken us weeks to put together, and it's now in 2 weeks' time, and I'm thinking, my gosh, have I got enough? Does it look right? Because it's now suddenly in my own space, in my own ideas, and it's not for a client with a client brief. These are my own briefs, so it's quite a different perspective. It's quite a challenge to see if I'm going to be happy with myself. So the exhibition, I've called it Interwoven, and I was just looking at a lot of the things that I had, that I was trying to see how I can reuse some of those things, because a lot of the products that we've been creating, we don't need to throw them away. We actually store them. So it's like looking at those things and saying, okay, how can we reuse this? And then I just found that a lot of the things were interwoven in some way or another, either through method of weaving, plaiting, ideas interwoven. So there's the whole concept playing with interwoven. And I am busy putting all these installations through the actual showroom, the studio, the house, because it's actually hosted at my house, and through the garden. So we have currently about 20 installations around. So it's quite a lot of things, and I'm hoping it's all going to be ready in 2 weeks' time. I will make sure it will be. So it's a showcase of the work that we do, that we can offer. And it's then working with concepts. So I like to work with concepts. So if a client had to come with me with a concept, they can see how I would work with that and how the process is, because that will be shown here. And it is using the the craft skills of artisans as well. It's not just my work. I'm interweaving that in through wire work, brass plaiting. And so, for instance, like I've got this supply in Eswatini where I get grass mats from, which are plaited grass, and then they hand weave them into circular form. I've actually got a sample here, actually. Give me a second. That looks like that.
Oh, wow, yes.
And everyone knows these.
Yes.
Africa.
Yes.
But I looked at this and I thought, actually, I want that as in a rope form. So instead of plaiting and weaving it into the mat, please can I buy that in ropes? And then I'm going to figure out a way to incorporate that into the flowers. Mm-hmm. So, simple things, everyday things. We have a lot of beadwork in our country, where artisans are making birds and lions and all sorts of things using wired, beads on wires. So I've just asked them to just give it to me plain, don't put into anything, and then I incorporated those wire strings into the flowers, and it just creates all these different things. So that you'll see all in the exhibition. It's how we try and take everyday stuff that artisans are making and see how we can incorporate those into the designs.
Beautiful. Show us the small little sampler invite, the physical one. Yeah.
Okay, so here's my invitation that I'm hand delivering to key people that are showing interest, or I feel that could be potential people to come. It's going out of my comfort zone. I've always been in the hotel as the in-house florist, and now I'm trying to reach out to the clients directly in terms of art galleries, interior decorators, or art curators at banks or businesses where they might show an interest in floristry and handcrafted items in a sustainable way. So this is the gift box that they would receive with the invitation. The invitation has all the details on there inside. We've put on our business card just to push our actual business, and that's also in there. And then we've taken some of we've used our corporate colors, my corporate colors, which is green and purple, and I've just wrapped this little box in that. So you would unwind it, open it, hang on, I need 2 hands. Open the lid, and then open what's inside.
Which is a beautiful nest, actually.
A little nest that we've created.
Wow.
And
so pretty.
It's also this is wire that's recycled. We've recycled this, and then these are flowers that this is a fern.
Yeah.
Which normally falls, the leaves fall off, but I've just dried it and it looks like a feather to me. So it's kind of also just kind of sticking within that theme of the nest. But it's
And what is the eggs made with?
These are bunny tail grasses.
Yeah.
It's a grass.
Beautiful.
That looks like an egg.
Yes. Beautiful.
So we've just pushed that inside, and it created the concept of an egg.
So creative. Beautiful.
Like a little sneak peek of what you'll be seeing. This is a tiny little one, obviously, but we have one installation is a whole series of different nests. So I had a book on nests and eggs, and I gave that to my team, and I said, right, try and see from all the materials that are here, try and make these nests and see what you can come up with, So there's been a lot of experimentation, just playing, having fun, and just coming up with things that just look intriguing.
Yeah. And it's amazing when you have fun, how beautiful and amazingly different and unique things people can come up with. Yeah.
That for me is so inspiring. It's so inspiring. It just fills my heart with joy to see other people's joy with it. So I'm very, very blessed to be in this, working with nature and just sharing that with people, because it really does. I think working with nature is an absolute blessing, and it really does make a difference in people's lives, because they leave the workshops feeling different.
Yeah. And I know that feeling very well, having attended that workshop. Coming back and changing stances a bit more, and when asking you this question, that when you look back on your entrepreneurial journey, what would you say are some of the high points or the wow moments that bring a smile to your face?
We have these dreams, and you just put it out there, and opportunities come. Just grab them. No matter, don't let your mind think about them, just do them. Because I had this idea that I wanted to be a hotel florist, doing little hotels in the area. And before I knew it, I was invited to come to the Four Seasons Hotel. And that was like beyond my wildest dreams. So that was such a high point. I just thought, oh my gosh, yes, I'm doing it. I am so doing this. COVID was another point, which was amazing to transform the direction of the business, because I was doing fresh flowers all the time, throwing them away after a week, exhausting work, because you have to check it every day if it's still alive. When it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too windy, the flowers are always needing attention in a hotel space. And it was exhausting. And then when COVID came, we had the opportunity to change that. And that's why I started to go into sustainable floristry, like how can I sustain my own self? Because it was such exhausting work. So that was a high point for me, the opportunity to change the direction and change the way we think about flowers. I have since left the Four Seasons Hotel a year ago, and I am seeing the skills that others have and really feel strongly that I need to bring that into the work more. And that's what I'm pursuing, is finding people that will see that. And I feel so strongly about that. So it's not only about my work, it's about community and sharing that with more people so people can see it and experience it.
Amazing, amazing. I'm sure that along with the high points and the wow moments, there were challenges as well. I mean, the entrepreneurial journey is full of challenges.
Very much.
Tell us about some of the challenges that you faced in your own journey.
Well, I think those, yeah. COVID was definitely one, although I turned it into another opportunity, because it was a pretty, people were throwing everything away. We had people were retrenching staff. I kept my staff and we tried to do things differently, but it was a moment of panic. Like, how are we going to survive this? So as much as those low points are there and challenges are there, it is always an opportunity for change, to take the opportunity to find a different way of doing it, to get out of it. So even now, I'm no longer the hotel florist. We don't get work every day, like we did. But it's an opportunity for me to grow into a whole new space. So that is a journey. It is a journey, this. Costings has always been a difficult thing. Costing it right, that took me a long time to get that right. It was very much like, I can't charge too much because otherwise they won't use my services. So I had to grow personally to.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that question, because often we see that people who are very creative in their pursuit or in their offerings to the market have a challenge with managing finances or managing costing, understanding accounting, how to apportion your fixed cost over, the different things that you produce. Yeah, so I was going to ask you that question, but you naturally mentioned it.
Look, I mean, with the hotel, it was easier to kind of get through, because as long as we were making a profit at the end of the month, if some things were taking longer and other things quicker, as long as the overall month-end figures showed a positive. Working on an individual big installation is a different thing, because there I don't know exactly what the manpower hours are. Some of the things we're doing is so labor intensive in terms of getting the skills to create. At the moment, in the studio at the moment, we have what's called Chinese lanterns, which are little flowers on a stalk. They're little bulbs. They look like little lanterns. We're wiring each one onto the stem. We're going to allow it to dry, and then it's going into another hotel as a reception piece, so that it won't fall off and last long. But it's how do you cost the timing of that? How long is it going to take to wire 100 stems with 2,000 lanterns on it? That's quite difficult to kind of get that right, because I don't really know. I have to kind of guess, and my work is never the same, so I don't have a recipe that I'm working to saying how much it is. So it is a bit of a trial and error, and also people have a very strange perception of flowers. They think flowers are free or cheap, and it's really not the case. So people sometimes can't get what it is. And then I have to explain to them. So it's also an educating to change people's perceptions on price, especially.
So, Emely, changing stance and coming to the last question for the interview. When you look back and reflect on your entrepreneurial journey, what are some words of wisdom that you want to share for people who are sitting on their passion project or are just starting out?
My words of wisdom are to keep growing and not get stuck in your ideas. I know I do, and I find myself getting stuck. You kind of do the same things over. But to just get out and try something new, just find different ways of doing things, just try to redefine how you do things. Because otherwise you just get stuck in doing the same thing over and over and over, and it just gets boring, it just gets unmotivating. And so just to keep pushing yourself to try new things.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anything else?
Yeah, I think also just to value yourself, value that what you are putting out there is, especially when it's coming from so much passion, that it's valued, that there's so much thought and love and thinking and considering that goes into your passion projects, that, yeah, don't give up on that. You just got to keep going, because you grow. It's all a process and nothing is wasted. Every single thing that you do is a stepping stone to getting to where you want to go. Sometimes it just takes longer than other times. Sometimes you might feel you're getting nowhere, but I promise you, everything you do is a stepping stone to getting to where you want to go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time and energy and sharing from your beautiful work and the light that you shine in the world. It's so special. And yeah, thank you, because your journey shows grit, lots of grind, and oodles of gratitude that the universe brings on your table as you grow in the journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Dips. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you today. It's been lovely. It's been a very nice experience to listen to your questions. So thank you for the opportunity to you and your listeners. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like this interview, please don't forget to subscribe by pressing the bell icon and follow us on our social media handles as we talk to more and more micro entrepreneurs who are living their dreams boldly.